What's up, guys? So one of the things that I find a lot of students, especially pre-med students, are unsure about is which extracurriculars they should get involved with during their undergraduate career. And this is definitely something that I was a little bit unsure about when I was starting to join clubs and whatnot. But I think looking back, I'm actually pretty happy with how this process turned out for myself. So I just wanted to let you know like what I did during those 4 years of undergrad in order to set myself up for success during the medical school application process. So one thing I'm a big believer in is not to over-involve yourself throughout your undergraduate career and kind of just in life. And what I mean by that is not that you can't do lots of different things, but don't just get yourself involved in things just for the sake of saying that you're involved in them. So for example, I see a lot of students that will join all these different clubs, 6, 7, sometimes 10 different clubs, and have really shallow involvement in all those extracurriculars or clubs or whatever it is. And I just think, one, for yourself, like there's no way that you have interests in all those different things, and if you do, like awesome, then I'm sure you can make it work. But what I see a lot of students do is just getting involved in all these things so they can put it on their application and really just so they could say that they're really involved. And that's definitely not what you want to do. That's not going to look good on your application. Admissions committees are going to see right through that. They understand when someone's actually actively involved, and they can look at your hours, and we'll talk about this at a later time when we go over how to do your application, but you have to submit your hours on the AMCAS application, and if it doesn't add up to the amount of hours that are in a week because you have all these different clubs and you're saying you've been doing all these things, it's just not going to be believable. Also, you're just not going to enjoy being involved in so many things, having all these different meetings and going to things that you don't really believe in or want to be doing. So what I did was I got myself involved in one new thing each semester for the first 2 years of undergrad. And another really important thing that I look back now and I'm pretty happy that I did was I didn't just focus on having to do everything that was medicine related. So the first thing that I involved myself in college was I joined the club soccer team. So soccer was a big part of my life all the way up until I started college. I played very competitively in high school. Originally thought I was going to play in college. That didn't end up working out. I got a couple bad injuries, and then I also realized that I'm not going pro in college, so I might as well focus on my studies. And basically, but I'm still very passionate about it, and it's a great outlet, to keep fit, do something that's fun, a great stress relief from class. So the first thing I did when I got to Cornell was I looked up all the club soccer teams and tried out for them. I was fortunate to make the team, and it ended up being one of the best decisions I've made in undergrad. So that was the first semester. So the second thing that I got involved with was joining a social fraternity during the second semester of my freshman year. And again, has nothing to do with medicine, and I know there's a stigma behind fraternities, but I definitely made sure to do my research, and during rush week look at a lot of different houses and see which one I felt best aligned with my interests. And the fraternity I joined, really I made some of my closest friends throughout my undergraduate career and I lived in the fraternity house for 2 years and was surrounded by a lot of driven people. Everyone came from diverse backgrounds, and I know there's a lot of stigma behind fraternities these days and sororities, Greek life in general, but they're not all bad, and we did a lot of great things. I was one of the philanthropy chairs of my fraternity, which is actually something I talked about a good deal on my application. So there are ways to incorporate things that you do outside of medicine into that application. You're really just trying to paint a picture of who you are, and I know that there's a lot of people who are afraid of talking about being in a fraternity or sorority on their application because they think it might look bad, and I totally understand that point, but I'm a big believer, and I'm not going to hide who I am or what I've done. And I think that if you're able to frame it properly, you can definitely express what your fraternity or sorority is about, or any organization that you join, as long as you do have great intentions. And the fraternity that I was in, we did a lot of great things. We teamed up with Teen Cancer America, raised a ton of money to donate and help build a children's wing at CHOP Hospital in Philadelphia, and we did a bunch of other fundraisers. But my point being, that this decision, again, for my second semester of freshman year, had nothing to do with joining something so that it would look good on my application. I just did something that I felt would be best for me. And I think that's the mindset that you should try to have during the first year or two of undergrad, is just to get involved in certain things that you think you'll enjoy. You can try stuff out, and if you don't like it, drop it. But the things that you do get involved in, really try to grow and take on leadership positions in those organizations, rather than just joining a million things that you don't care about. So the summer after my freshman year, I worked as a camp counselor just to make some money. I didn't really do anything medically related during that summer. I was still early in the pre-med years. Looking back, I would definitely say to get involved as early as you can. Not as much just because it's going to look good on your application, but just to continue to solidify that this is a career path that you want to go into and that you really understand. So I would reach out as early as you can to physicians, and it could be someone you know, or just kind of cold email them. People are really responsive. A lot of physicians are used to having students shadow them. So maybe you can just go in for a day, or maybe once a week, or whatever it is, and follow the physicians around, see what a day in their life is like, and don't worry so much about this like getting hours right now so that it looks good on your application, but really just kind of take it all in and try to understand what this career is like, and if it's still something that you want to pursue, because it is a long journey. So you want to make sure you have as much exposure to it as possible, so that you're confident in your decision to apply to medical school and to go into this career. And that's really why there's an importance placed on clinical time, or at least shadowing time on your application. It's just so the admissions officers know that you really know what you're getting yourself into, and that you're dedicated to pursuing this career, because it is a long journey, and they want to be confident that you're going to stick it out through those 4 years of medical school. And my sophomore year is when I really started to join extracurriculars that were more medically relevant, and also I thought would look better on my application. But again, I didn't just join things for the sake of putting it on my app. I really wanted to do things that I thought would be both beneficial to me, that I would enjoy, and that I'd be able to really get involved and contribute to. So during my first semester of sophomore year, I joined Phi Delta Epsilon, which was Cornell's Premedical fraternity, and it's national, so it's on a bunch of different campuses and also medical schools. But the reason I joined this club was because I really wanted to find mentorship within the pre-medical community, and on my soccer team and in my social fraternity, there were really no pre-meds, so I didn't really have that upper peer guidance that I was looking for. And by joining this organization, I was able to find a lot of people that have gone through what I was going through, that had experience with all the pre-med courses that I was currently taking, some are a year or two above me, and also understood the application cycle a lot better. And I find that peer-to-peer mentoring is probably, or I know was the most valuable for me at least, because they really are able to relate. And I was able to find my mentor, who actually now goes to the same medical school as me, which was just a funny coincidence. So she's still helping me out, and really just having someone who can, tell you all the ins and outs of the different classes, of how the application cycle works, and be there to guide you through is really beneficial, and it helped me out tremendously, which is really one of the reasons I was motivated to make these videos, is really just to try and give that mentorship out on a broader basis. So that was one of the reasons I joined Phi DE. The other was that I knew that they really got involved on campus and did a lot of great things that I wanted to get involved with. So they did smaller events like blood drives, little fundraisers for certain causes, but then they also got involved in bigger events like we started or co-founded Big Red Thon, which is like the dance marathon that a lot of the schools, a lot of colleges do to raise money for Children's Miracle Network. We also, and I was able to do this when I was an e-board member, we went to Upstate Hospital and were able to then interact with the children that we were raising money for a day, and meet with them, talk to their families, and it was a really great experience, and definitely something I recommend doing throughout, at least once during undergrad, is go to a hospital, volunteer, and really get to know what the lives of the patients are like beyond just everyone's so worried about shadowing doctors and see what the lives of physicians are like, and that's really important too. But try and understand better the people that you're going to be serving as a medical provider. I thought that was really important. So that's what I did during the first semester. And then second semester, I got involved in research, and I knew that I didn't want to do bench work or wet lab research, but research is important, I'm not going to lie to you, especially if you're trying to get into a competitive medical school. They want to see that you have at least a year of research. And even if you don't like it, try it out for you. You never know what's going to happen once you get involved with something. And if you don't like it after that year, you can switch and try research in a different lab. You might like that better. Or if it's really not for you, then you can drop it. But I definitely recommend trying lots of different things. Even though I say don't get over-involved, try things, commit to it. Don't involve yourself in lots of things at the same time. And then if it's not for you, you could switch and do something else. So I got involved in nutrition research, which I knew I was interested in. It's kind of what my major was, is nutrition and biology. And I thought that it would be something that I would be able to stick with, and I really enjoyed doing it. I ended up running my own project and being able to work with a couple of the younger students in the lab that worked under me. And again, just showing that you want to do things that you're going to be able to grow in and take on leadership positions. So for research, I became a project leader in Phi Delta Epsilon. I ended up being on the executive board for a year. In my social fraternity, I was the philanthropy chair and helped a lot of fundraising events on that end. And on my soccer team, I just played soccer. I didn't take on a leadership role in that. But that was just a great outlet for me to do something that I love. And again, it's extremely important to not just do things to be that cookie cutter candidate, but do things that you enjoy doing. So that's what I did during my sophomore year. And then after my sophomore year, that summer, I did a pretty intensive shadowing program where each week I did it at Northwell Hospital, or North Shore Hospital, which is under the Northwell Health System, which is getting pretty big in New York, especially on Long Island. And basically each week we would rotate through a different specialty and shadow either a physician, a surgeon, yeah, I know surgeons are physicians, but you know what I mean, and a nurse practitioner, basically involving yourself in healthcare and seeing what the life of lots of different providers is like, and also lots of different specialties. So I felt like after that program, I really had a good understanding of the different nuances between specialties, different providers, how the teams worked, and that's something that I felt it really helped me, especially when I was writing on my applications, that I could show that I really understood what I was talking about, but really also helped me solidify that decision to go into medicine. So I definitely recommend getting involved in a program like that, or if you're going to shadow, I would try to not just shadow one physician for an entire summer, but see if you can reach out to a couple. Maybe you do 1 week with one person, or even a month with one person, and then a month with someone else, just so you can get a variety of perspectives, because each specialty is different, each physician is different. So that's something that is really important, is to get a broader outlook on healthcare and what the life of different physicians is like. And then when I got back from my summer sophomore year, I really didn't get involved in anything new. I just worked on getting those leadership positions that I talked about in those organizations. And so that's a system that worked for me in terms of extracurriculars. I think it's a really good structure of slowly getting more involved, taking on 1 or 2 things each semester, and then really working to go deep in terms of your involvement. So get a leadership position instead of broad in terms of just joining a bunch of different organizations that you're going to have a very shallow level involvement in. And I'm curious to hear what everyone else's take is on joining extracurriculars. I think this is something that could definitely work for a lot of people. It worked for me. It allowed me to do things that I enjoyed and still get good involvement that I was able to show in my applications. So please leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you have any questions about pre-med life, life of a medical student, or really any other thing in terms of lifestyle, nutrition, healthcare, whatever it is, please let me know, and I'll try to make a video on it. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you soon.